Now, some 1,000 women entrepreneurs living with disability have benefited from a government interest-free loan to expand and improve their businesses. The program, which is part of the President's Women Empowerment, aims to resource the vulnerable in society with financial resources to improve their lives. Presenting separate checks to beneficiary groups, President Akufo-Addo said creating an entrepreneurial spirit among Ghanaians remains his goal towards modernizing the economy.
Today, we commence another program, the Presidential Empowerment for Women Entrepreneurs with Disability, which will help focus the attention of the nation on the need to empower our women entrepreneurs with disability. Ladies and gentlemen, a recent report by the World Bank tells us that empowering women entrepreneurs to serve as agents of economic opportunity could help Africa fulfill its need for high-quality employment, particularly within the context of widespread unemployment and growing youth populations. We in Ghana find ourselves in this situation over the last decade, where newly created businesses are run and owned by women, more so than those owned and managed by men. Additionally, a 2018 study conducted by the MasterCard Index of Women Entrepreneurship indicates that in Ghana, women's business ownership stands at 46.4%, the highest on the continent. The report adds that women and youth are spearheading the creation of businesses in the hospitality, retail, and agricultural sectors. That is why government, under the auspices of the Ministry of Business Development, is focusing a great deal of its attention on improving the quality of women entrepreneurship in the country to help achieve the goals of sustainable, inclusive growth, enhanced livelihoods, and the creation of jobs. You may recall that on 7th August last year, 1,350 men and women from all parts of the country became the first recipients of the Presidential Business Support Program, with beneficiaries receiving seed capital ranging from 10,000 cedis to 100,000 cedis each. It is noteworthy that 58% of the 1,350 businesses that received financial support were of those owned by women.
In all, 2 million cedis generated from the private sector was disbursed to the beneficiaries. Minister for Business Development, Dr. Awal Mohammed, said more women will benefit from the program soon.
This evening's program has been inspired by your commitment to include everybody in your development agenda. The young women, ladies we've seen here, have over the years gone round to look for some small support, and it was difficult. So, President, under your government, they found a partner to support them financially. Mr. President, all that they needed was something little to either start a business to scale up. And through your initiative to create an entrepreneurial environment, they have found a partner in President Akufo-Addo's government. We want to move from just a factory-driven economy to an efficient-driven economy. The only way we can do that is to create entrepreneurs. Mr. President, only last week, the Vice President launched the Student Entrepreneurship Initiative at the University of Ghana Business School to support entrepreneurship among students. Over the next few months, we're going to support a lot of our disabled women. To put the word that being disabled doesn't mean you cannot handle it. We are committed to doing that. Mr. President, it takes a caring government to identify the needs of disabled people. And more importantly, it takes a visionary leader like you, design schemes to support disabled persons. We will continue to be inspired and motivated and emulated by your desire to include everybody in your business and in the development agenda, so that by the end of the day, we're not only creating an entrepreneurial nation, we are creating wealth for our people.
Stay on workers. Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yalba, is asking government to pay monies owed SNIT and the second-tier pension schemes. Speaking at an event to commemorate Workers' Day on the theme, Sustainable Pensions for All, the Role of Social Partners, Dr. Ba said Ghana's pension schemes can't operate effectively and may collapse if government doesn't pay social security contributions of government workers consistently.
Pension analysts and actuaries are very quick to point to low salaries in Ghana as the cause of inadequate pension. So in 2017, organized labor constituted a technical committee to investigate the computation of pension benefits. The committee found that, yes, indeed, low level of pay is an important factor. But another important factor which is contributing to low pensions has to do with the way pensions are computed. So in the last 2 years, organized labor has been engaging board and management of SNIT and MPRA on the computation of social security benefits. Mr. President, I'm very pleased to inform you that we are making very good progress. Let me mention one factor which is hindering progress in our pension system, and that has to do with the huge government indebtedness to SNIT and the second-tier occupational pension schemes. We are aware that government transferred over 3 billion to public sector second-tier schemes in 2018, but that was a small step in the right direction. The truth is that government still owes SNIT and second-tier schemes millions, if not billions, of Ghana cedis. We cannot expect our pension schemes to perform effectively and efficiently if government, which is the single largest employer with over 600,000 workers on its payroll, fails to pay social security contributions. If there is any factor that can lead to the collapse of our pension schemes, it is the persistent non-payment of social security contributions by government.
Now, listing a number of issues affecting workers in the country, the TUC boss appealed for a review of the labor laws, saying the current laws do not provide adequate protection for Ghanaian workers.
We still have here in Ghana hundreds of thousands of workers who are paid below the national minimum wage, which is currently just about 270 Ghana cedis per month. Tens of thousands of workers are working as casual employees without employment contracts. Tens of thousands of workers are denying their fundamental right to join unions because they could be sacked by their anti-union employers if they exercise that right. Children are being forced to work in very hazardous conditions on farms, on rivers, and at sea. Some female employees have been denying their reproductive rights to have children because their employment contracts could be terminated if they become pregnant. We in organized labor hold a view that these unfair labor practices are being perpetrated by some employers who know that the state institutions such as Factories Inspectorate, Labor Department, and National Labor Commission cannot enforce compliance because they don't have the resources. Mr. President, we are humbly appealing to you and your government to provide the necessary logistical, financial, and human resources to these state institutions to perform their duties effectively. There is also the need for a review of the laws governing employment because the current labor laws are not providing adequate protection for workers of Ghana.
That happened a little earlier as workers gathered at the Black Star Square to commemorate Workers' Day here in Ghana. My colleague Nancy Mefadra Dosi was there for us. Hello, Nancy.
Hi, Dennis.
Well, first of all, tell us the mood at the Independence Square. We realized when the president was speaking, and the TU boss as well, it appeared some bit of commotion. What exactly was that?
Dennis, sorry, I can hardly hear you.
I'm asking that you tell us the mood at the Independence Square now, because especially when the president and the TU boss were speaking, there appeared to be some bit of commotion or a lot of noise making at the venue.
Exactly so, Dennis. In fact, after the president even spoke, I tried getting to some of the workers around to find out what they actually heard from the president. And they had nothing. I saw a few of them. They had nothing. That should tell you that the place was very noisy. The place was charged. Each group, each company that came here had a brass band. And so the atmosphere, I would say, even though the rain also came in, was extremely charged.
Nancy, you spoke to some workers earlier, and when we spoke on News Desk, and they are demanding that Dr. Yauba, who is the current Secretary General of the TUC, resigns. Why exactly are they asking for that?
Well, so the workers I spoke to are under the ICU. They say that Dr. Ba, who is part of TUC, has been disrespecting them, and that they were evicted from their building a few weeks ago. Exactly a week ago, the Taba asked people to come and break into their office and take away the things that they have in the office. And so basically, they are saying that they want him to step down because of the disrespect.
Right, so you tell us, has the event ended? Because the president ended his speech at about 11:30. What's happening now at the Black Star Square?
Right, currently what's happening is that a lot of people actually in their stands of the companies are still around. Some of them are supposed to tell me that today is basically merry-making for them. So then, even though here it's gradually becoming empty, I can still spot in a group, they're sitting in groups on the stands.
Hello, Nancy.
Hi, Dennis.
Sure, thank you so much. I thought we lost you there. And Nancy Dradosi there coming to us from the Black Star Square, giving us updates on what's happening as workers gather to commemorate their day today. And this commemoration is all over the world. And what we've been hearing from the TU boss today is that they want government to pay attention to debt owed SNIT and the Tier 2 pension scheme, saying the non-payment or consistent non-payment of SNIT contributions of government workers could collapse the scheme. We heard from the president in response to that. He said some 200 million cedis had been given towards arrears owed SNIT. We will be bringing you more on that here on Joy News today. Let's move on to some other stories. Now, recent reports of foreigners being arrested for suspected crime, especially kidnapping, has probably strengthened the perception that all crimes are perpetrated by them. But it has also strengthened the resolve of relevant state agencies to clamp down on illegal residents. The Ghana Immigration Service says all landlords and property owners are required by law to check the immigration status of their non-Ghanaian tenants before letting out property to them. Landlords will be held liable if investigations reveal they rented out to non-Ghanaians without checking their immigration status. We'll bring you that story shortly here, but let's take you back to the celebration of Workers' Day. The president responding to the appeal by the Trades Union Congress to settle debt owed SNIT and Tier 2 pension schemes.
Takes us to what I identified as the third stage of our work-centered existence. It assumes that we have acquired the skills needed for the life of work, and we have jobs and can look forward to a time of satisfying retirement. Everyone knows the critical contribution of labor to the production process, economic growth, and sustained development. It is important that the dignity of labor is maintained throughout retirement. The passage of the National Pensions Act 2008 ushered Ghana into a new pension regime characterized by a three-tier pension scheme. As we all know, This scheme is made up of a basic national social security scheme, Tier 1, an occupational pension scheme, Tier 2, and a provident fund and personal pension schemes, Tier 3. Currently, pension fund assets are reported to have grown from 5.1 billion, representing 6.75% of GDP in 2012, to 20.8 billion, representing 10.1% of GDP in 2017.
Now, residents of KOKOBEN in the Itrima-Kwanuma district of the Ashanti region are accusing some of their leaders of failing to respond to appeal for support to complete a bridge in the area. They say repeated promises by the MP and DCE to provide resources to augment their contributions remain unfulfilled. A planned demonstration on Tuesday over the matter flopped as organizers were forced to retreat due to poor participation. Nana Senso-Mensah has more in this report.
We are telling the MP to come and help us to build this bridge. The landlord around here built the bridge, and this contractor and the AA Mat, they help us to build this bridge. So we are entreating the MP and the DCE to come and help us to build the bridge.
Parts of the community have been cut from the main KOKOBEN township as a result of a collapsed bridge linking the old and new towns. Affected landlords took up the challenge to initiate construction of the bridge, but support has eluded them. Residents pour out their frustration.
It is affecting our kids, and even the citizens, when they are sick, they don't have the access to the clinic. They have to pass the long way round before getting to the main street, and this is affecting the society and the community as large.
During heavy rains, this river overflow its banks and you could hardly cross to school. Most times, we get to school after first break. We have to use alternative route when it rains heavily, she said. With my kids, it is risky to cross the river when it rains. The MP and DCE could not be raised for comment. Nana Senso-Mensah reporting.
Let us go back to that story about recent reports of foreigners being arrested for suspected crime, especially kidnapping, and how that has strengthened the resolve of relevant state agencies to clamp down on illegal residents.
We are all concerned about this phenomenon of kidnappings, which we have not known. Our brothers and sisters in Nigeria have known it, but we have not known it in this country, and we need to do something about it to make sure that it doesn't become a feature of our society.
President Akufo-Addo, following a series of reports of crime, including kidnappings being allegedly perpetuated by foreigners living in the country. The Ghana Police Service has already indicated it will go after landlords who fail to authenticate the residency permits and other documents of their foreign tenants. Here is Accra Region Operations Director of the Police Service, ACP Kwesi Fori.
Landlords will be held responsible, for some of these crimes, because you give your room to somebody, you don't have any detail about the person, no picture, no passport, no information, and the person, uses your premises as, a prison, unlawful place, to detain innocent people and so forth. I believe that the landlord should be looked at. An investigation will seriously, count them in.
Well, the Ghana Immigration Service wants all landlords and property owners to check the immigration status of their non-Ghanaian tenants before letting out their properties to them as required by law. Public Relations Officer Michael Amakwata says anyone found in breach of this law will be sanctioned.
We expect any property owner who intends to rent out such property to a non-Ghanaian to first of all check on the immigration status of that non-Ghanaian. And for that, the law says that if you ignore this and go ahead to rent out such property to the non-Ghanaian and you are found out, you are liable of contravention of the Immigration Act 2000. What Section 52(1)(b) of Act 2000, Immigration Act 2000-573 says is that any such person, when he contravenes that provision of the law and is convicted, either he pays a fine of 1,000 Ghana cedis or serves a jail term of 2 years, or at times to both.
This landlord at Chado here in Accra shares his experience with some foreign tenants.
I drove them because I don't like the way they are living there. Some who owed me before I realized they've gone.
He has, however, learnt bitter lessons.
I will not allow any foreigner come to my house without even having his picture or his number. I will require all these things if I really want to take a foreigner. As at now, I drove many Nigerians away, except one guy who's in Nigeria who works. Okay. I don't know where he works. So when he comes, I will even inform him of what is happening right now. That I need a passport photocopy.
Are these foreigners living in Ghana willing to comply?
Ghana and Nigeria, we are the same. If the government is bringing out this new policy that every foreigner should acquire all his documents before renting a shop or a house, I think for me there's nothing wrong with it.
I think it's the right thing. It's the right thing. If the government of Ghana is asking for documents, it's the right thing. Likewise, other African countries, they used to ask documents when you stay like they give you 3 months. Then after the 3 months, they'll begin to chase you to know whether your passport is valid or it's not valid. That one is good.
To me, if I go like looking for a house, if you say I should bring my documents, I think the only thing necessary for me to bring is my valid passport. Even if you travel to Dubai or different Asian countries, at least the most thing, even though you don't have residence, one thing that identifies you as someone that is a foreigner is your valid passport. That is, when anything happens to you, that is where people know where you come from, your address, your hometown, everything is there. So talking about getting resident permit before you can have a shop or have a house where you can see, it's not everybody that has that money.
That was Komla Dum's report. You're watching Joy News Today with me, Benes Abubedulansa. Taking a quick breather. When I come back, bringing you an update on the piloting of malaria vaccinations here in Ghana. Thanks so much for your company here on Joy News Today. Let's focus more on workers. Today is Workers' Day, and stress can best be described as the devil of the modern Ghanaian worker. Although generally most people go through stress, the condition may be peculiar to each person based on their personality, lifestyle, or even working conditions. Dr. Collins Ajaman, an industrial and organizational psychologist, threw more light on some causes of work-related stress. He spoke earlier on the AM show.
At the workplace, there are a number of stresses, a number of events, a number of situations that
even people.
And so I usually ask people I consult for, what causes you stress? Is it worse, people, time, or season? Work-related conditions. A complex boss. Imagine having 2 bosses. One is a reflective one, who will listen to you, appraise whatever subject you bring, whatever issue there is, and give you a response. And we have a lot of these reflective bosses. We also have reactive bosses. They are not patient at all. I have worked with a number of bosses in my life, working in different universities. And you may have a reactive boss. They don't have patience. They think they know it all. You start a discussion and he brings it to a conclusion. Having the kind of leadership you have, the kind of leadership style you experience can be a stressor. Between a reflective and a reactive boss. Between a transactional leader who just says, do this, I give you that, or someone who appeals to your heart, someone who appeals to you, you feel obliged to work without necessarily contemplating on what you will get, a transformational leader. Between these two, one can cause you stress. The environment around which we work can also cause us stress. Sometimes you go to the workplace and there's so much tension. We spend about 1/3 of our life at the workplace. And so if you do 8 to 5, 1/3 of your life is at the workplace.
Well, we've also been speaking to some workers on how they manage stress at work.
Some of the workers too don't remain their loyalty to the companies here, and it affects the companies a lot, because as workers and the management are involved in the operations of the company, there should be loyalty. Some of the workers themselves break that bridge, and so managers do not have that trust in them. Managers too, some of them don't communicate effectively with their employees, because you have to communicate with them so that you know what they are, because sometimes people feel inferior about themselves because you don't regard them. When it happens like that, it serves as a platform for them to outline their problems.
With where I work, we have a gym session that's on Wednesdays and Thursdays. After work, the workers go there to release stress, and also I think 2 times in a year, the first and the second, the latter part of the year, we organize health walks. So I think that's what my company basically do to help release stress of the workers. It's free. So far as you're a staff with the company, they cater for it. It's doing very, very well.
Well, the challenges confronting Ghanaian workers are quite varied. We know conditions of service are not that good in the country. Currently, employers are demanding more. They want workers to actually earn what they work for, so that at the end of the day, whatever you are paid at the end of the month must be commensurate to whatever you are given at the end of the month.
There's a lot more that was shared on the AM show today. If you missed the show, just get onto our YouTube channel, myjoyonline.com, and get yourself all the details. Now, Ghana is one of 3 countries in Africa to start piloting malaria vaccines. This initiative is to help save the lives of tens of thousands of children who die of malaria on the African continent every year. The World Health Organization on Tuesday joined the Ghana Health Service to launch the National Malaria Vaccine Implementation Program in Cape Coast. Country Director of the World Health Organization, Owen Kalua, says the launch of the program should come as good news to the country because Ghana, like many other African countries, has been and is still being hurt by the devastating effects of malaria. Richard Kojanyako has more.
The WHO estimates that about 400,000 deaths on the African continent are recorded every year as a result of malaria. Owing to that, an aggressive pursuit of solutions to this disease that has hit and continues to hit largely people on the African continent was done, and a vaccine was found. After a series of trials, the pilot implementation of the vaccine begins in 3 African countries, including Ghana. At the national launch in Cape Coast, Country Director of the WHO, Owen Kalua, was upbeat the breakthrough should end the woes and miseries of many a Ghanaian.
WHO welcomes the government of Ghana's launch of the malaria vaccine, which has the potential to save tens of thousands of children's lives. This breakthrough in malaria control caps a 30-year effort to develop a vaccine with proven results to prevent malaria in young children. It represents a dream come true for many, for the scientists, public health experts and leaders, healthcare workers, community advocates, public and private partners, and the people, children and families who have suffered from this disease. The disease saps our productivity, prosperity, and potential. It keeps our people in poverty, and drives families into poverty.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Siasari, spells out how the implementation is going to be done in Ghana. He warned against misinformation and peddling of falsehood against the program to enable Ghana come out of the shackles of malaria.
I want to repeat here, this is a pilot implementation. It's not clinical trials. The technical working group, in collaboration with key stakeholders, including selected representatives from the regional health directories, using multiple and strict criteria, selected 3 regions then, but now 6 regions, namely Volta and Oti regions, Bono, Ahafo, we chose Ahafo, Bono, and Bono East regions, and Central region. And we are using Upper East region as a post-market survey, where we found ourselves to be the largest target regions for the malaria vaccine implementation program. The Ghana Food and Drugs Authority has given authorization for the vaccine to be used in these targeted regions for the pilot introduction. We are fully aware that sometimes fear and misinformation can make communities worry of vaccines altogether. And we are also aware there are some anti-vaccination groups, especially on social media, who always talk as if vaccines have been brought to Africa to sterilize all our children. We must therefore guide against the misinformation and the fear of usually associated with introduction of new vaccines.
Central Regional Minister Kwame Duncan has been preaching about attitudinal change. He says the country might face challenges battling with malaria if our sanitation laws and building planning laws are disregarded.
Our own attitude, way of life, and all of that has never helped this agenda. That in building our communities, it's haphazard. Anything goes. Shanty towns where the environment is not properly developed. When rain falls, you have puddles. And these are the conditions which promote the vector, the mosquito. And so, the effort by Ghana Health Service itself must go alongside a certain collaboration, multidisciplinary, multi-sectorial.
The Global Malaria Program has already declared 2030 for the end of malaria. Richard Kwejonyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
And here in our studios at KOKOBEN in Accra, this is Joy News Today. Coming up shortly in business, Labour expert Austin Gummy entreats government to explore ways of creating more sustainable jobs for the teeming unemployed youth. We'll bring you details shortly. That's how we end this edition of Joy News Today. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. Happy Workers' Day to you if you are a worker. Up next is the marketplace. Do stay.